37th parallel on America's haunted highway. It's Pixelated Paranormal, your guide to the unusual and the strange.
It's my turn, huh? Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pixelated Paranormal. This is episode 338. I, of course, am Sean. And Preston, would you believe me if I told you I never edited the audio to post to the podcast feeds last week?
Yeah, I can believe that. Mm-hmm. You know, you had a lot going on, though, so we'll forgive it. I mean, you haven't been doing the thumbnail, stuff either.
Oh, yeah, true, yeah.
Update, but I mean, nobody's really used to it when they get on YouTube anyways, for those to be updated for like a month. It just sits there without any cover art, so they're none the wiser.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I was using AI generators to make the cover art, because I'm like, that'd be a little better than doing all the fucking rehashes of everybody else's, Polaroids and shit that we all pull from on Google search. Then I also had a fleeting moment of sheer guilt when I'm like, I should not be supporting fucking AI art, because really I'm just kind of hurting myself and I'm hurting you and everybody else. So I haven't posted to Instagram for a while.
Really? Man, I don't feel that way about.
No?
I don't know. I don't feel that way about AI art. So here is my take on AI art. When you go to design like a logo for a company. Mm-hmm. It's never going to be good and pristine. It's never going to have that human element. It's not going to be polished. It's not going to have the proper aesthetics as when a human being does it. So it's always going to be off. It's always going to look goofy. And everybody's going to know that you're a dipshit and you used AI art for your logo when you could have just hired a professional to do it. So there's always going to be that human element that's missing. But then I look at when you're a content creator. So like us, we fall in that umbrella as a content creator. I know how to draw. I know how to design. I know that I can make good works of art. I know that you know how to draw. I've seen your 31 days of bullshit that you do every year and what you've done this year, and they're amazing. And that one that you did of the skeleton that's, the monster that's in the robot thing made my dick hard. Uh-huh. But
nice. It's
time consuming, and creativity takes a moment, and it's not always where we need it to be. So in this case, it's fast, it's loose, it serves its purpose. So you're able to make stuff quicker to get it out. It doesn't, thumbnail art doesn't need to be polished. It doesn't need to be creative. It's fucking thumbnail art. It just gives something the viewers to look at that's remotely relatable to the content that we're talking about. So in that case, I'm perfectly okay with using AI art. However, if you're typing in fucking prompts and you're like, oh, I'm an artist. No, go fuck yourself. You're not an artist. You're a lazy piece of shit, and maybe you don't have a creative bone in your body. You should go do you, boo. Go figure out what it is, whether it's picking your nose, planting gardens, cooking, crocheting. I don't know. There's all sorts of things that you can do to be creative that doesn't involve you considering yourself an artist. Okay, for those of us that have the God-given talent of being an artist, fucking let us do our thing. You quit being lazy and go do something else creative. Boom, problem solved.
Well, what a tangent we took off.
I know, and I'm okay. You know what? And I'm allowed to feel this way, primarily because I got dog shit on for like 5 years in fucking art school at a college level. And if you've never gone and been totally shit on and just stripped of all your humanity and felt like dog shit, you don't get to call yourself an artist. Okay, that's it. Well, I've earned that fucking title. You've earned that fucking title.
Right. I think, though, let me elaborate, because you're not wrong in what you said. My trouble that I have is that, like, when you simply create something for a thumbnail, it's not really taking away from somebody's job. I wasn't going to sit here and illustrate, 3 gray aliens abducting 2 kids in a fucking, 78 Plymouth Fury. But I'm saying, like, even the act of creating it, it's pulling pieces from existing artwork. So anything that's been published online, any photo of your art and my art, and Jackson Pollock and Susie down the street and everybody else in the master database of the internet. It's taking bits and bobs of that and using that to create its own interpretation. So in theory, what I mean by it's damaging to us as artists is it literally is stealing from us to a degree. And it's much deeper than that, but at the same time, kind of what it is. It's just like being a content creator and writing a podcast. There's times when I and you and I both will take a topic and we'll read 4 or 5 articles, 2 or 3 books, and we'll chop it up and we'll make our own retelling of a story based on facts that we pull. And that's not damaging, but we also have learned that we need to give credit where credit's due. Just like when you write an actual paper, you have to do a source site page. So in creating a piece of digital art, doing an AI generator, that almost needs to be the case too, where it's like, oh, by the way, we pulled reference and actual implemented, a digital interpretation of all these artworks and all these artists, but they don't do that. The irony is people can go and cash in on that. Like now the amount of, like tonight's story, when I was reading this article that I'm going to be reading 90% accurate from, they used AI art, and it made me laugh too, because instead of being like actual photo of, so-and-so and blah, blah, standing outside their RV, it was clearly an AI rendering, and it would just say like, were they abducted outside their RV? Whereas beforehand, you read an article and it'd be like, this is Betty and Barney Hill circa blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, like, it's used everywhere, but now you're seeing like banks using it for advertising, and you're seeing movies use it like Late Night with the Devil. It's a pretty damn good movie, but all their splash pages for like the Be Right Back screen that they did to mimic like the old 70s commercial breaks, that was AI art, and it was really shitty looking. And I don't care what anybody says, there's no excuse for that. It wasn't about the uncanny valley. It was just, I think, a shitty decision to really fuck over the art department. But anyway, I digress on that. It does take from us little bits and pieces, and then if somebody tries to profit off of that, i.e. a movie or an advertising firm, like that's pretty fucked. Like that's basically plagiarism. And to the degree that now that AI art's being taken to court, and the entire idea is, oh shit, this is to a degree copyright infringement, all your tech bros are crying because they're like, wait, you can't outlaw this from a profit standpoint. So like, if we can't profit off of AI generated artwork, how are we supposed to make money? And the answer is go fuck yourself, because you're not doing anything. It's just like NFTs. And I'm still not smart enough to understand NFTs, but what I am smart enough to understand is we don't need a third party. I am artist, here's my artwork, you're consumer, boom, buy my shit. I don't need to give you a fungible token and give you rights to sell my art to some, random secret club who's going to buy shit from me, and you're going to profit off of me as the middleman in a broker situation. Anyway, holy fuck, we got off topic.
It's fine. That's what it's been a minute.
We really got off topic, but I think all that to say that I need to start posting to Instagram more. I should have updated and edited the audio from last week. So this week, audio listeners will see they got 2 episodes that dropped into the lab.
That's the gift that keeps on giving.
I guess so. Well, judging by the title here, you may not be able to get much from it, but tonight's main story is a really interesting abduction case that took place in the Mojave Desert. And I found inspiration from it because there's a really badass series of movies called VHS, and they're found footage anthology movies. Well, VHS Beyond has a story about a woman who is doing a documentary about an abduction case that takes place, or aliens. I wonder what the inspiration is behind the story of this film. Come to find out, there's actually a Mojave incident, which is very similar to Betty and Barney Hill meets Kelly Hopkinsville Goblins. So that's our main topic for tonight. But I do have to give you guys a little news story or two at the top here as well to kind of balance out all that fucking tech talk. So, real quick disclaimer, we're going to be talking about dismemberment and mental health. So again, just be forewarned. First up, in Mount Olivet, Kentucky, a northern Kentucky woman faces capital murder charges after she was arrested last week when her mother's dismembered and apparently cooked body parts were found inside the home of the Kentucky woman. Toralina Fields, 32 years old, was indicted on October 14th on charges of capital murder, abuse of a corpse, tampering with physical evidence, obstructing governmental operations, and torturing of a dog with serious physical injury or death, according to Robertson County court records. The victim has been identified as Trudy Fields, Toralina's mother, according to the, again, court documents. Blood-covered Toralina's body was removed from a home in Briarly Ridge Road on October 9th after she refused to come out. Hold on, scratch that. A blood-covered Toralina Field had to be removed from a home in Briarly Ridge on October 9th after she refused to come out, according to Kentucky State Police. Earlier that day, around 12:30 p.m., troopers responded to a call of a deceased woman on the property. The call came from a man who said he arrived at the property to do some work for the owner, and he told troopers that at the property the day before, he noticed Trudy Fields and Toralina Fields both alive and well. On October 8th, the witness stated Toralina was casting spells on them and was being confrontational. The man told troopers he knocked on the woman's door, but no one answered. He went searching in the property for the owner, and that's when he made a grisly discovery. After noticing drag marks in the grass, the man followed them and was led to a dismembered body behind the home. The arms and legs and head were all removed from the body, later identified as Trudy Fields. According to the citation, troopers found multiple body parts and organs inside a folded mattress next to the body. But again, disclaimer here, this is about to be really gross. Trudy Fields' head, hands, and feet and forearms were in a pot on the kitchen stove. Toralina apparently heated the body in the oven until it was, heated the body parts in the oven until it was charred. On that same day, Toralina Field is accused of murdering and dismembering the victim. She intentionally tortured and killed a domestic dog as well. The bond is set at $1.5 million on October 14th, and a plea of not guilty was entered for the 32-year-old who was appointed a public defender. Holy fucking shit, that is
so
grisly.
How does she feel that she's not guilty? Like,
Well, I don't know, man. I mean, mental health is my first stab here. I just got through reading a Stephen King short story about a guy who killed his wife, claiming that she was a space alien. And so in his defense, he did not kill his wife. He killed a space alien posing to be his wife. I won't spoil the ending, but anyway, speaking of dismembered body parts, a foot found in a river led to the discovery of more body parts identified as the remains of a man who'd been reported missing from Michigan. Back on September 18th, 41-year-old Justy Stillwell was reported missing by relatives, according to a news release. That same day, a teenager found a human foot in the Saginaw River. It being near Halloween, I thought it might have been some kind of prank, the teen's grandfather said. I went down there, and initially it looked like a doll's foot. Officials say 2 arms and 2 lower legs, including feet, were then found. On September 19th, investigators learned that the body parts belonged to Stillwell after running his fingerprints. Stillwell was a janitor at T.L. Handy Middle School in the Bay City, according to Michigan Live. Justy was a valued member of the Handy family, and they know his loss will be felt deeply by many. Stillwell's car was found at a nearby park, according to the news release. Officials searched the river using sonar technology and cadaver dogs, but found no more additional evidence. Oof. Fuckity fuck. That's rough.
well, man, this really started off on the dark and
Look,
twisted
it's Halloween.
foot.
We got to bring the heat, baby.
I stayed at a haunted hotel Thursday night. That's Halloween-ish.
How'd that go, man? Anything weird happen?
Well, I slept like shit. I could not stay asleep for the life of me. Like, we walked around fucking Oklahoma City, kind of like we did San Antonio. Like, we got to the hotel and we're just like, ooh, this one place is 8 miles away. Let's walk it. And then, no, this place is 2 miles away from there. Let's walk it. So we walked the whole afternoon. Got back to the hotel, 8, 9 o'clock, set up my CPAP machine, put on a scary movie, and I was out. And then I woke up, toss and turn, out, toss and turned, out, toss and turn. Now, Jeffrey woke up or was getting ready to kind of go to sleep, and she noticed this light turn on in the room, and she looked, and in the corner of the room where there was no lamp, no electronic equipment, this orb, orange orb, started to glow and then get big, and then she said it noticed, I noticed it, so that it shrank and disappeared. And then Like she would wake up and then right in front of the curtains, she would see a shadow move back and forth. So she's like, "Fuck it!" I just stayed up the rest of the night with the TV on, and then I just kept waking up, going back to sleep. And so then I woke up the next morning, literally like my CPAP app showed that I slept 12 hours. I literally probably only slept like an hour and a half because I'd be up, awake, and like it was a complaint of the same thing in in that hotel where they can't sleep. There's like noises. There's like stuff moving, they see things, they have a hard time sleeping, and so then they lose the game based off exhaustion. Like, we didn't get a good night's sleep, that hotel's fucking trash. All those ghosts cause us to lose. So I agree with you guys. I didn't get a good night's sleep. Beautiful hotel. Love the room. It's got a nice feel to it. It's not a good place to take a nap, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Bummer, dude.
Yeah.
Well, sorry to hear that, man, but this definitely sounds like you had some kind of phenomenon happen, though. So
yeah. And there's this really cool, it's like Craig's Wonder Emporium that's like downtown Oklahoma City, like right next to Chinatown. And it's like a crystal shop. They have like all sorts of like, we got some Aleister Crowley books. We got all sorts of like little, knickknacks. Really cool store. So go support, local businesses. If you're in the Oklahoma City area, go check out Craig's Emporium.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea, man.
Yeah.
I'll definitely gonna have to check it out. Most definitely. I was just talking to a guy earlier today about how like Oklahoma has a lot of really cool other stores to go to as well, like toy stores and collectibles and stuff like that. So shit, yeah. Well, tonight's main story had a couple of really interesting coincidences. And the first one being that the story takes place in the Mojave, and I was actually watching Maxine, the third film in the X and Pearl Mia Goth trilogy, and I thought it was interesting because one of the production companies involved was called like Motel Mojave. So that was kind of fun. But right before we started recording tonight, I actually opened up the story just to kind of refresh my memory and discovered that we're telling this story on almost the exact 35th anniversary of the occasion. Now, the story, depending on where you read, either I know, right?
Wow.
The story either takes place on October 20th or October 21st, depending what source you're reading. There is an official book later that I'll mention, and it either took place to a couple, a husband and wife named Elise and Tom Gifford, or it took place involving Steve and Dawn Hess.
I mean, this is just like a
they
normal.
Might have used an alias.
Yeah, this is like a normal story for us. We don't come with all the facts, and a lot of it's, fourth-hand knowledge. It's fine.
Yeah,
and it's close enough for government work.
Now, giving credit where credit's due because we're not asshole AI bots. This story I'm going to be pulling from comes from UFOinsight.com. Article written back on July 27, 2023 by Marcus Loth. And for all intents and purposes, this story takes place on October 20th with Steve and Dawn Hess being our protagonists. Our story begins on October 20th, 1989 with Steve and Dawn Hess heading out to the foothills in the Mojave Desert after having their two children stay with Steve's parents and also borrowing his father's truck to make the journey. Now, they were headed to the Mid-Hills campground just inside the state limits of Nevada. However, the weather turned unusually strange, and so they opted to pull off on the side of the road and remain there for the evening. Now, the following morning, with a heavy fog now clear, the pair sets off once more towards the Mid-Hills camping ground, a location, incidentally, that was in the middle of nowhere. When they eventually arrived early in the evening, however, they were a little shocked and also disappointed to find out that the campsite was completely full. Again, unusually so. Normally, there's a couple spots to maybe find yourself camping in. With nowhere for them to stay for the entire night, the couple decided to head to a secluded valley between Tabletop and Woods Mountain where they could set up camp for the evening. Steve eventually brought the vehicle to a stop in a particularly secluded location with the monstrous dimensions of Tabletop Mountain towering over them as a backdrop. And although Steve is a perfectly relaxed individual, especially in the surroundings they were in, he said he suddenly felt a bit of a fire shortly away from a short distance away from the truck. To Dawn, something also didn't quite feel right. Although she couldn't quite put her finger on the feeling, she couldn't shake the feeling something untoward was about to head their way. They settle in for the evening. Steve begins to cook steaks and beans over a fire, and Dawn and Steve both push the unsettling feelings from their mind. Now, what I think this was supposed to say was that Steve felt like just an unsettling feeling, like maybe there was a fire nearby, like a state of mental unrest. Anyway, as the food's cooking, the pair marveled at just how clear the night sky was, a crystal clear blackness with multiple stars twinkling overhead. However, as Steve goes on to turn the steaks over and continue cooking their dinner, he notices something strange. What he first thinks he sees is just one bright star over the top of Woods Mountain, but soon he realizes the light begins to move. It was as though his reaction to seeing the light was most of intrigue. Almost immediately after noticing it, however, Steve seemed to go into some kind of strange trance, as if his subconscious mind was attempting to reveal a forgotten memory to him. He wasn't sure how long he was locked in this weird trance, but it wasn't until he heard Dawn calling his name that he somehow snapped out of it. Although he was a little unnerved by the episode...
Steve! Wake up, motherfucker!
Is that how it went? Is that how Jeffrey talks to you?
Yeah.
Hey, asshole! Wake up, I see an orb. Although he was a little more than unnerved by the episode, just like Dawn earlier, he pushed it from his mind, and the couple ate their steak and beans and then shared a bottle of wine as they looked at the stars in a perfect Mojave Desert evening. However, just like earlier, again, Steve's attention is drawn towards a very bright star that seemed to be appearing out of place in the night sky. And like before, when the star begins to move, Steve realizes, oh shit, this is not a star at all. This time, he didn't sink into the catatonic state, though. And once more, Dawn could see the cosmic anomaly too. Even more remarkable, though, the couple soon noticed multiple lights moving in the midnight sky, eventually counting 9 total light anomalies. Then, things took a turn for the strange. To begin with, the couple believed they were witnessing a strange aircraft experiment from the nearby Knowles Air Force Base. However, when the light came to a stop before... However, when the light came to a stop before smaller red lights emerged from them and headed into the direction across the desert, they realized they were witnessing something truly out of the ordinary unfolding. Okay, so strange light, and it breaks into smaller red lights. That would have been a much easier way to say that. As these lights moved, they appeared to pulsate and glow temporarily brighter each time they did so. And they also appeared to be so many now that they couldn't count them, so these lights are beginning to multiply. Bizarrely, despite the surreal nature of the moment, Steve and Dawn also later began to recall that they were aware that the unusual nighttime sounds of the desert could no longer be heard, something we call the Oz effect. Then, before they knew it, the lights above and all around them seemingly danced, all in and among themselves, flashing and pulsating. This flashing and movement began to increase and intensify for several seconds before suddenly all the lights buzzing around them seemed to go out like someone turned off a switch. Steve and Dawn took a moment to briefly comprehend what exactly just happened. Before they could fully do so, though, they each began hearing the sound of feet scampering nearby. Not one set of feet, but several sets of feet. The sound snapped both of them back to attention, and each of them scrambled back to the truck. As soon as they were inside, Steve reached for the rifle they had brought with them. When he took it out of the window of the truck's cabin, he could see not one pair, but many pairs of what appeared to be glowing red eyes out in the darkness, seemingly circling around the couple. At one point, a sudden jolting of the cabin of the truck appeared to suggest one of the creatures had jumped into the vehicle. As this is happening, Steve raises the rifle and was about to take a shot in the direction of the creatures, but then Dawn urged him not to shoot, stating this might not be such a good idea. She said she's not sure why she said it. Potentially.
Blow them apart. Use your boomstick. Fuck those aliens. Fucking hitchhikers.
Well, what's weird?
They didn't even thumbs up. They didn't have a towel. Fuck them.
Well, what's weird is Dawn says that she doesn't have any idea why she told Steve not to shoot. She felt like maybe her own, consciousness was being manipulated. So they remain still for several moments. Then two of the strange creatures come out of the darkness and come closer.
Clearly, these aliens don't know how humans work, because if I was going to telepathically communicate with somebody, I'm automatically going to go for the fucker with the gun, not the guy's wife, because we all know husbands don't listen to their wives. So, that alien was really rolling the fucking dice on that one.
The couple looked on horrified as these strange entities approached the parked truck. They were so strange, unlike anything either of them had ever seen before, and the only way they can describe them would be as small, red-eyed gremlins. At this point, the already terrifying encounter takes a turn for the even more terrifying. The creatures, almost as if they could sense the couple's fear and terror, all began to approach the truck, getting closer and closer, until eventually they jumped on top of it, back in the back of the bed, on top of the hood, and banging several times on all the surfaces. As this was happening, the pair could also hear the creatures seemingly speaking to each other, although it was in a language that they weren't familiar with. Before they could contemplate the menacing tormentors any further, however, they noticed more entities continuing to approach them from the darkness. These, though, were different from the gremlin-like creatures. Now, seemingly coming out of thin air from the darkness, were 9 tall beings, overly thin, with particularly large black eyes. These entities continued to approach until they completely surrounded the truck, looking straight into the truck now at the horrified couple. As this is happening, each of them experienced a sudden surge of thoughts, images, and emotions, all flowing into their minds in one big cacophony. Each of them was convinced these were placed there telepathically by the strange, tall, thin entities. But even stranger now, in the distance behind the tall creatures, a bizarre disc-like craft begins descending out of the night sky before coming to a full stop just a short distance away from the truck. As it hovered, various vegetation was drawn toward it, seemingly disappearing into its underside. Then, before they could contemplate what exactly was going on, a thick fog-like substance appeared around them. In no time at all, it penetrates the inside of the vehicle. Moments later, the couple both passed out. Now, when they awoke, a thick mist had cleared, but furthermore, the night sky had been replaced with the redness of the morning rising sun. Of more importance, though, to the couple, the strange creatures also appeared to have disappeared themselves. Then they finally summon up the courage to get out of the truck and start to investigate what exactly happened, and was there any evidence in the surroundings that they could find.
Real quick, Acre Ace is watching us over on Twitch. What's up, buddy? Thanks for watching.
What up, dude?
And then our buddy Jeremy is watching us over on YouTube. He said, "This is good shit. Thanks, guys. Great content."
Thanks, buddy boy.
Yeah. I just like to point out, real quick, I've noticed something over the course of, doing all these episodes, with alien encounters and stuff. And, everybody makes the jokes of, when is the government gonna, come forth with, disclosure, and we all realize that the universe is teeming with, alien life. And everybody makes the joke that, dude, I can't wait, because who would want a fucking alien? You think Star Trek, Star Wars, Twi'leks and the Klingons and all those hot alien babes. Mm-hmm. Every single story that we covered has not involved anything that would remotely be a hot alien babe. And I'm starting to get really disappointed because all alien life out there is actually pretty fucking creepy sounding. And I'm just like, oh, yep.
So you don't think any aliens we've covered so far have been hot, sexy, or attractive?
I mean, at this point, I'm pretty sure the Nordic blondes are about as real as Flat Earth. So, you know, those tales have been few and far between. You got these little bastards, the Kentucky goblins. You got gray aliens. You got the lizard folks. You got that thing that was a potato monkey hybrid that got out of the spaceship. Yeah.
Well, didn't we talk about, what was his name? David Huggins. We talked about this way early on in the show, but he's the guy that started painting oil paintings of all the sex he would have with this hot space alien chick. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this one, he said, was a very beautiful, curvaceous, large-breasted female alien that just kind of had like the white face with big oval eyes. But I mean, not so shabby, I guess, could be worse.
I'm just saying, like, if you look at what we've covered, the odds ain't looking good.
This ain't looking good.
Yeah.
Well, what can you do, man? It could be worse, I guess. I don't know.
All right, I'll stop pestering you. Continue on.
No, please go on about how you're not turned on by space aliens. That's the content these people came for. So anyway, they get out of the truck. They get out of the truck the next morning to see if there's any kind of evidence. They can't find anything. But what they did discover later, though, is two small red dots on Dawn's neck, as if something had pinpricked them, such as a hypodermic needle. Anyway, the couple took several moments to gather their thoughts, not knowing what's going on. Big giant aircraft, creepy little gremlins, big tall space aliens, none of them sexy, and it appears as though somebody got a needle into the neck. Neither of the two could remember anything after the bright lights of the UFO and the strange mist filled their truck, though. So just what exactly happened from that moment on until the next morning? They both agreed, though, they should probably keep these things quiet because something extraordinary did happen. What are you supposed to do? Go tell all your friends? So they kept it to themselves. The couple quickly gathers their things, gets back to the truck, and heads back home in Los Angeles, suddenly more eager to leave than ever before. But as they travel along the lonely highway, they each notice in the rearview mirror or in the corner of their eye, they see a large disc-shaped object, almost identical to the one they'd seen descending the previous evening, seemingly following them off and on for their journey home. A few miles before they actually reach their home, the craft disappears once they hit the city limits. They eventually arrive home and attempt to pick their lives back up from the point they had left them at when they went to the desert. However, they soon would discover this would not be so easy. Although they did indeed not speak of the strange encounter to any of their friends and family, they would continue to feel the effects of a bizarre incident for many days and weeks following. One example here is both Steve and Dawn would experience sudden intense headaches, as well as feeling equally intense bouts of nausea. Furthermore, both of them would experience particularly intense nightmares, unlike anything they experienced before the camping trip.
Hold on, Jeremy said, obviously there is better lore than Wikipedia. Buddy, we don't scour Wikipedia for our content. So, yeah. I know what lore is out there. I'm just saying, not Wikipedia.
There were also more strange, ominous experiences to go on. Each of them would begin to see lights in the sky that would be appearing to follow them wherever they would go. They also began to hear really strange sounds inside the house at night. Even more concerning, though, is both couldn't escape the feeling that somebody was watching their every move. However, when their children began telling them that strange creatures with bright red eyes were appearing in their rooms at night, this is what made them realize, oh shit, this entire incident is now way out of control and we can no longer keep it quiet. One specific night, the couple was dragged from their sleep by the sounds of their son screaming in terror. They rush to his bedroom, turn on the lights, and they're shocked to see him levitating in thin air while spinning like a top. By the time Dawn began reporting being grabbed and pushed by an apparent invisible entity, the pair decided they had no other option than to go undergo. Jesus, let me just reread this one. Dawn also reported
hold on. Jeremy says that was my quick reference to the incident, not your sources, goofball. I'm going to go ahead and let that one slide. Nice recover. Sean,
there
continue.
You go. Speaking of recoveries, let me reword this one here. Dawn also began reporting being grabbed by unseen hands, apparently from invisible entities. At this point, they decide they should probably get hypnotic regression in an attempt to unlock the memories from what exactly happened to them that October night in the Mojave Desert. The couple eventually contacts Dr. William Anister and would agree to going hypnotically regressed in an attempt to unlock their suppressed memories. Ultimately, they would recall that after they had lost consciousness, the strange tall creatures had taken them from the vehicle into the disc-shaped craft, and once aboard, they were both subjected to many different tests, experiments, and procedures. Both of them recall that not only did these procedures at times cause them considerable pain, but one of them resulted in the strange marks that they had noticed on Dawn's neck, those two little pinpricks. Essentially, it would appear that Steve and Dawn Hess underwent a typical alien abduction scenario. However, we may question if this was only a such encounter. Good God, why do we have to make word salad?
Hey, real quick, would you ever get hypnotically regress? I mean, have you ever thought that, like, I don't know, like, have you ever been abducted? And, like, how do you know? Like, if they wiped your memory clean, like, you could have been abducted, like, I don't know, 10 times your whole entire life. And yeah. I mean, you know, like, hey, Doc, I don't know. There might be some repressed shit in there. Not quite sure what's in the closet, but hey, you want to go ahead and dig in there? And then all of a sudden they're like, you know, you get it done and you're like, yeah, you know, the summer of 1999, there I was. I got floated out of my window, anal probe in the ass.
I don't know. Like, the problem is there's different theories of looking into the abyss and the abyss looking back at you, right? It's one thing to do a show and talk about weird shit. It's a whole other can of worms to have your own experiences. Then, if that's not enough, imagine having your own experiences, but then doing the regression only to find out that it's 20 times more terrifying than you ever imagined.
Yeah.
What does that do, man? Right? Like, we already live on a fringe razor's edge here of reading weird stories, knowing that most of them may not be true, but still enjoying them. We still have everyday lives, still got to pay bills, still got to contribute to society. What happens if one day you're like, oh, I'm going to go to the regression real quick, and you come back and you're just like, dude, and your brain's fried because of what, you know, you discovered during that regression. Not only are you a Knight of Templar, Preston, who has been reincarnated, but you also got a finger up the bum.
I know. I mean, so you didn't answer my question. Would you do it or would you not do it?
Oh, I didn't. Sorry. I thought we were... Never mind. I was going to make a political joke. I would if you would.
Oh, fuck it. Let's do
it. I say as I have, you know, Elliot right behind me there.
Yeah,
I don't know, dude, because, I mean, I've told this story on several podcasts and this podcast as well. I had that experience at my grandma's house, man, where I swear some big old bulbous, bubble-eyed alien came walking in her back door and then, like, ran through the house and jumped on me, and I, you know, was frozen in a sleep paralysis, and when I finally kind of broke through right as the thing jumped at me, it was gone, but the bag on the chair was swinging back and forth that it had bumped when it came rushing at me. So I don't know, dude. I mean, I like that story because it's, you know, it's mysterious enough, but like not that scary. I don't know what I would do if I actually had to find out like what exactly happened.
I would say I only have one experience that would probably most likely be an abduction where I got my memory erased. But it, like, you know, you think of all the times you've had sleep paralysis and then like you wake up and then you see like a shadow figure. And the room is always like dark, but then you get that like weird, unnatural light where it's not really like light coming in, but the room just kind of, you know, is less dark than what it was. And you can kind of, you know, make out a few more things. So 23, 22-ish, like somewhere around there. My great aunt died, and Mom wanted me to go to the funeral with her and Dad. And, I'm an adult, so I'm just like, fuck it, I'm not getting up at like 5 a.m. and driving out to you guys, to go to like 3 hours away to a funeral. So I'm like, I'll just stay the night, and I had to sleep on the couch, and the couch was in front of this like 3-bay window. And woke up, sleep paralysis, and I could see like shadow figures like standing over the couch, like looking at me. Mm-hmm. But this time there was actual like a bright white light that like flooded the window and filled up the whole entire room. And then I don't remember what happened after that. So like, I don't know. I mean, that could have just been an odd, shadow person encounter, or that could have been an actual alien abduction. And why couldn't you fuckers plant me back after the funeral is what the real question is, if that's the case. And why haven't you come back? Why haven't you come back since then? Am I not good enough for you? Did I not give you the goods that you wanted?
Yeah, right.
Do I have bad DNA? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Who knows? I know that Jesus, let me just drop my phone. I stayed the night at my friend Jeremy's house once in like 3rd or 4th grade. And I still remember a night where I was asleep on his couch and I was having a hard time falling asleep. And then I realized like a big white light came in the window and flooded the entire living room. And I remember screaming, and then Jeremy's stepdad at the time came in. And I was like, oh my God, there's a bright light, like a shining in the window. I think somebody's out there with a flashlight. And then he thinks it was just a Jesus Christ, that was creepy. A set of headlights that was coming in from outside, and a car must have turned the corner or pulled in the driveway. But I still remember that scared the shit out of me.
Jeremy on YouTube wants to know, can you guys cover your opinion of Pilatus's missing 411 in a future episode? And have Preston heads up before you broadcast. Bet your fucking bottom dollar, dude.
Yeah, we have talked about missing 411 so many times. I've got 5 of his books, I think.
Yeah. We
could do like a greatest hits recap in November, just talk about like just the bizarre stories that we remember covering. That'd be a lot of fun, dude.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that. God, I almost wanted to do that on this episode because I found an alternate article that's written way better. No offense to the person who wrote this one, but there's not as much creative writing involved. And God, that would almost be worth.
Is that your nice way of saying like AI writing?
Here's the thing, like okay, let's just say I'm going to stand behind you on this one. We have used AI in our show before, and by that I mean you have asked it to like rewrite a piece, I think, right? And it sometimes will fluff a paper. I think AI, or at least the program that you've used, is designed to make a 5-page research paper a 10-pager for college students.
Right.
By just adding fucking dangling participles
everywhere.
Yeah. Well, back to the story here. It appears as though they had the classic UFO abduction scenario, lots of different procedures and pokes and pricks and everything else, and they don't understand why. They're assuming maybe they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. But a question popped up as whether or not maybe this has happened to them plenty times before.
Jeremy, you don't have to apologize for being new to the channel. We just fucking said we're going to deep dive 411, especially just for you, because it gets our dick hard, because we love that subject matter. So you don't need to apologize. Right. We got you, boo.
Yeah, don't you worry your pretty little head. We've been doing this shit for 9 years, and we've just now been streaming live maybe the last year or so. So yeah, don't worry. We got you, boo.
I'm a dick. I'm sorry. Dude. I keep interrupting. Continue.
No, you're fine. I forgot there's an update on a TV, and if I leave my Xbox on long enough and I don't do anything with it, the Xbox shuts off, and the TV turns on like these screensavers, and they have like easy listening spa music, but then they're interrupted by commercials from like Progressive and shit. So as we're sitting here recording a minute ago, I was like, geez, that was scary. Well, the music kicked on, and it scared the shit out of me. Now, as we're talking, I heard a woman's voice come on. I'm like, great, they're in my fucking house. Someone's in my fucking house. Nope, it's just the commercial.
Yeah.
So, How's that for TV? This is the stuff that the audio listeners never get to actually see.
You could save 20% or more by switching to Geico.
I'm bleeping that shit out. We're not getting paid. Fuck them. There was, though, one particularly interesting thing to worry about here, because during the regression session, Preston, Dawn also began speaking in a voice that was not her own, as if she'd been possessed by another intelligence. And this voice stated that, I know where the universe ends. The universe ends when it matters. Who wrote this? The universe ends when its matter stops mattering to us and starts mattering to them. That's encryptic, and I'd probably slap my patient if they started fucking saying stuff like that. The universe ends when its matter stops mattering to us and starts mattering to them.
That actually makes a lot of sense if you think about it, because we
Does it, Confucius?
Yeah, it does. Just follow me here. I think I know what I think I know what the bitch is trying to say, okay? So
God damn it, you can't say that word in a derogatory state.
Oh my god!
I was talking to someone yesterday about the podcast. Fuck this episode. This is fine. I was talking to someone yesterday, and they're like, "So how do you podcast for 9 years?" And I was like, "Well, to me, it's a lot of fun. I just bullshit with one of my best friends. When Rob was a part of it, he was in there, and Steve was a part of it. Steve was part of it. But like now, it's not a chore, but it's different because I have to sit here and be the politically correct guy because Preston has to call every person bitch, and then we're kind of getting our thumb on it. We're doing a lot better, and all of a sudden, last episode, he says, "Yeah, my ex-wife, that bitch," and I'm like, "Well, fuck me." I mean, you know what? You just can't. You can't
win them
tame
all.
a wild horse.
Yeah, you got. Hey, the peacock's got to fly, baby. Caca. Okay. Anyways, look. What was that lady's name? That
Sherry.
No,
Mary?
She went to Tibet and she was with all the monks, and then like she started like the tulpa lady, right?
Yep, I'll find it. You keep going.
And so she's like sitting there putting all of her thoughts and energy, and all of a sudden she creates like this weird fat Santa entity that fat Buddha Santa Claus.
Alexandra David Neal.
Okay.
Alexandra David Neal.
Her. Okay. So she did this whole study about how like the Buddhist concept of the tulpa, that if you put enough thought and energy into it, you can create something into being. So there is that Buddhist concept that the only thing that's holding the fabric of reality together is the fact that we share a singular mass consciousness with each other. So if we're all, if we're all concentrating on religion, the what, the how, and the why, then we're putting thought that reality matters because we want to know why we're here. We're a part of the journey. But the minute that we stop caring about reality, we stop caring about the why, we stop caring about each other, we're no longer putting the thought and energy into the existence of the universe. So the only reason why the universe exists is because as a singularity, and so that means that there is an outside force that wants to have control of that. So they're trying to diverge us from reality and from, our moral compass, so that we stop caring, so that they can. So that makes a lot of sense to me. I wouldn't be like, you're crazy.
But there's two parties being talked about here. The universe ends when its matter stops mattering to us.
Right.
And it starts mattering to them.
Right. That's the outside. That's the outside.
Does it end?
What now?
So these guys are these are the gatekeepers. Then these are like the almighty, and the universe continues to matter to them. So the universe continues to go on, but the minute it starts mattering to us, it stops.
Because we're shaping the universe to our will. Just like if you put thought and energy into a tulpa, you're shaping it to what you want it to be. So if we're focusing on the current state, if we're putting all this thought and energy, we're willing the universe to what we want it to be. The minute we stop doing that, our universe as we know it ceased to exist, and that allows them to step in and now concentrate and shape the universe the way that they want it to be.
Oh, damn. Okay,
I know.
Okay, vodka, Pepsi, kiss. Yeah. Yeah, you're a modern day Philosophicles.
When I drink. I drink.
I know, right? You're at that apex where like one more drink and you're just going to be a moron. But right now you're fucking.
I'm a genius.
I had a conversation with someone the other day that's very philosophical like this about religion and God, and they asked if I go to church, and it was an older person who I really respected a lot in the conversation we were having. I said, no, I don't really like organized religion. I don't like going to church because it's problematic to me because of past experiences, but I respect religion. I respect religious belief. I just don't like the institution of organized religion. And I said, so something that I like to do is I do believe in a higher power, God, whatever you want to call it. I do believe in God, but I find, how did I put it? I said, I see God in other people. I serve God by helping other people, and I find communion in having conversations and sharing experiences with those same people. And I wasn't trying to be like up my own ass about it, but it blew this person's mind, and they're just like, oh my God, I've never thought of that. And I just said, yeah, I mean, like, it's complex and it's very simple. I don't have to go to an institution to believe. I just need to serve other people. And in the end, maybe that's enough. I don't know. But good God, we're not even in the same mine shaft we were in before. Yeah. Like, the cart's a horse at this point. We're in the ocean. So, yeah, we got to keep on caring about the universe, folks, because if we stop caring, then this alien entity is going to be taking over and just kind of snuffing us out like a cigarette butt.
This whole idea about us willing the universe into existence and then the power of creating a tulpa, really, I'm going to, like, I was reading up on Terrifier since you made me watch Terrifier 1 and 2.
You're
Art
welcome.
the Clown, fucking tulpa. Yeah. Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
I can confirm he's not a... Well, I mean, I don't think he's a tulpa because I've met the actor that plays him.
Right, but in the story, in that universe...
Thornton, and he's fucking awesome.
He's technically... He was willed into being. He is, in fact, a tulpa.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I didn't think about that. That's fascinating. Well, what else is fascinating here is that even though the couple didn't talk about the experience they had, the story somehow found its way to Ron Felber, a writer who goes on to actually write a book called The Mojave Incident. Excuse me. The Mojave Incident. In an interview promoting the book with Shadows of Your Mind magazine, he would detail the case in more detail as well as his investigation. For example, he would explain that he had first come aware of the case through an employee of the company he ran, Paul Morin. According to Felber, Paul was close friends with Steve and had approached him in confidence about the strange encounter. Not only did Paul think that Felber would be interested in the story, but he also believed Steve might find talking to him about the bizarre event as a form of therapy. He'd admit that having a little interest in the subject of alien abduction kind of hindered him at the beginning simply because his main focus was on true crime. However, he would claim that once he met the pair, that all changed for him. He found both of them to be very credible and reliable witnesses after hearing the story firsthand. He stated that it felt to him as though a curtain had been lifted and that account was so authentic in his opinion you simply had to believe and the story had to be shared with the world. Felber was also present during some of these hypnotic regression sessions and was fascinated as he watched the couple relive life-changing and otherworldly accounts. Perhaps the most interest to Felber is the interpretation of the strange line that Dawn uttered during the time about something else being channeled through her. He would offer that he took the phrase to mean that if they are forced to take control, then we will have forfeited something precious. Damn, Preston, you got it. You got it. Amazing.
I know.
I like it and I love it. Recurring details and themes about this. There's several intriguing details that surface in the alien abduction encounter of Steve and Dawn Hess, all of which have either come up in other cases of alien abduction or are details about the process of alien abduction arriving at by researchers collectively. For example, if we recall the fact that Dawn stated that she warned Steve not to open fire, she was uncertain if these thoughts were her own or ones placed in her head of the beings that were outside of the truck. This idea that whatever intelligence is behind the abduction phenomenon had the ability to control someone's thoughts on the surface level, which, again, that kind of continues to be a pattern in a lot of abductions. Other people state that when they arrive at the location of the abduction of their own accord, as if they are being instructed to be sent here by their subconscious brain, they can easily say, we don't know why we were drawn to that position. We just showed up and boom, the aliens were there. So a lot of people believe that maybe they were led there. Perhaps even more intriguing, though, is the belief that both Steve and Don Hess saw these red, glowing-eyed creatures that were banging on the side of their truck and jumping on the roof in order to create chaos and fear, to drum up that very fear. Then you have a second group of entities show up, those real tall, thin, weird ass. Anyway, the fact that so many different anomalous creatures seemingly look to evoke fear in humans, blah, 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 word salad, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, yeah, many alien abduction cases and even some close encounters oftentimes, depict extraterrestrials giving these warnings to humans. Could that be the case here? This simple line about if we stop caring, then these other entities are going to step in. Could that be the entire warning? That's very similar to Whitley Strieber when he gets abducted. The entire thing is like, you guys need to calm the fuck down before you blow up the world. And that was the whole shtick, is like he has to give that message to, humankind. Anyway, it's also worth turning our attention to a top-secret underground military base in the Mojave Desert that some people believe could hold many secrets regarding UFOs and alien abductions. A lot of people, including Dr. Stephen Greer, have made claims that a certain black-budget project involving reverse engineering alien technology could be taking place in a facility out in the Mojave. Greer goes on to say that in a recent press conference, there were two types of UFOs. One that was most definitely extraterrestrial in nature, and ones that were also man-made as a result of reverse engineering alien technology. So could it be that these people maybe somehow encountered some kind of extraterrestrial visitation to that base, and somehow they just got intercepted somehow? Like, again, wrong place, wrong time.
He also, it was either him or the CIA informant that was in one of those congressional hearings last year that said they had alien biological matter in a facility. So, like, what do you guys got? Do you guys got the body of a goblin? Do you guys got the body of a gray? Do you guys got the body of a reptilian? Do you have one of those hot Nordic blondes? Like, what alien biological matter do you have?
Goddamn.
The world may never know.
The world may never know. Well,
or do you have like one of those little Peruvian midget aliens? Like, I'd even settle for that,
I think the problem is that whole space alien story, I think, was just recently debunked. Somebody said they did a ET corpse analysis, and
on the little guys, they were fake.
Yeah, apparently the skeletons were coat hangers. There was some styrofoam and even hot glue made into some kind of like goop to kind of make these fake bodies. So we could, in fact, just be dealing with more hoaxes. But anyway, regardless of what happened in the Mojave Desert that night, you got to admit one thing. It's a badass story because little goblins with glowing red eyes appeared. And I love me some Kentucky goblins.
Yeah.
Bada boom, bada bing. So, yeah. Again, good article. Maybe I should have done a little more research and found another one. It was a little wordy. Not quite as wordy when you're sober, but after you've had a couple, it becomes a little bit tedious sometimes.
What are you drinking there, Confucius?
Yeah, no, more like Confuse Us. I had a delicious maple pecan old fashioned earlier, and now I'm working on a bottle of my last bottle of Avery's Rumpkin, a pumpkin that's barrel aged, and I cracked it open thinking it was 6% because the label was very old.
Yeah, it's not.
Upon closer inspection, no, it's a 16%. Yeah. So, yeah, bottoms up there, Chief. Well, one thing I do know is that we got 2 more weeks left of the month. So next episode, probably have a little chat about some more desert encounters, the Yucca Man and stuff like that, because this story did make me think about that book I gave you. That is the God, what was that book called? Do you recall?
No, it's upstairs on my coffee table right now.
Terrific.
Yeah.
I gave Preston a copy of this book about just random encounters in the deserts. And maybe we should cover some of that. So I'll do a little dive into that, and we'll share some more weird encounters. But
Ooh, you know what you should do? You should pick 2 chapters, and I'll pick 2 chapters.
Yeah, that sounds good.
You let me know which 2 chapters you want to do first, and then I'll go through the book, and then I'll find the ones that I want to cover.
Sounds good to me. And then coming up, when do you want to record? Thursday is the 31st. That's Halloween. So I don't know if I'd be free that night. Would you want to try to record Wednesday the 30th?
Fuck, let's do Wednesday the 30th. Yeah, because
you can make that work a little late?
Yeah, because I get off, when I get off work Thursday, I got to go take the daughter trick-or-treating, and I don't know what time we're going to get back from that. So
yeah, I don't want you to rush, man. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, we'll do a little Halloween episode on the 30th. With that being said, guys,
no, we're not doing anything at Cowtown this year. Although I do have an inn at Cowtown. Yeah, we're lazy.
Because my inn is now out, unfortunately. So if you have an inn,
yeah,
that sounds fun.
I got a brother that's a curator down there. So
oh, dude, very cool. Yeah. Shit, yeah, man, that's awesome. Yeah, I ran into a couple different listeners at Cowtown that time, and that was a lot of fun. But yeah, Acre Ace was there and some other folks. Oh, nice. Yeah, Acre Ace is their anniversary is the 31st. That's awesome. Yeah, I think I remember Bree telling us a little bit about that, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, good shit. If you guys have your own stories you want to share, please shoot us an email. Send us a text message to our contact information. Our email, you can send us emails to pixelatedparanormal@gmail.com. I got a couple stories in there. I've got a few more that people told me just kind of, apropos of discovering I really, really like this paranormal stuff. You can shoot us.
When are we going to do movie night?
I know. November.
Okay.
First episode of November.
Yeah,
we'll do that. You can send us the emails to pixelatedparanormal@gmail.com. You can also leave us a voicemail at 913-662-3144. That's our Google Voice. You may be able to text us at that number as well. You can give that a shot. I've never tried to experiment with that, but it's worth a shot. But yeah, send us your stories, folks. We want to hear your own personal stories you've encountered, or maybe your family has, told you about or whatever. But I got a lot of good shit. I've got Owl Witch stories. I've got some ghost stories. I've got Bigfoot stories. So we haven't done a listener episode in a while, and I've kind of just been banking these. And there's one more encounter, Preston, I told you I was going to tell you about when you got back from your trip. I'll tell you that off the air because I want to share that story on our next recording, but I want you to have time to kind of give me an idea of what you think the whole thing meant, the whole experience this person had. So I'll tell you that here in just a minute. But until next time, thank you guys for watching, for listening, for joining us. We really do appreciate it, especially all you guys who have been watching and following along for a long time now.
Matt's got a good idea. Matt, we talked about that. We actually have a Discord server right now. I don't know that I've made it public, but he said that we should make a public Discord for people to chat and have a page dedicated for people to post stories. Fuck,
and
that's
we
a good
could
idea.
do that.
Yeah.
That is a good idea, man. I'd love that. That'd be awesome. We'll get that going. That is a phenomenal idea. Fuck yeah. Well, I think that about does it on this one, man. Again, thank you guys for joining us. And social medias, Instagram, we are at PXL Paranormal. Facebook is the Pixelated Paranormal Podcast. Preston, where are we at on YouTube, man? I think we're kind of just humming along here.
Woo! 321, I think. And then we've gained like one more on Rumble, one more on Kick. I think Matt's the only one that's actually watching us on Twitch. I don't think we got one follower on Twitch. Thank you, Matt, for that.
Hey, I'll take it, man.
Yeah. Look, anyways, if you like what you see, like, subscribe, share with all your friends, make them like and subscribe. Let's keep this baby growing. And if you need a beard, if you want a beard, if you want to grow the best goddamn beard possible, if you want to look like a hairy Sasquatch in the forest but smell like a, Dapper Dan, do yourself a favor. Go over to BigDopsBeardBomb.com and use promo code PXLPARA for 20% off your order. Pick yourself up some scents like bay rum, fresh citrus. I can't say mint anymore because he got rid of mint, but classic. And then what's the new one? Spartan. I've been rocking Spartan for a while.
Spartan. Uh-huh.
And I really dig Spartan. But anyways, Go to Dobbs. Use the code. Get it all. Get it at Dobbs.
Fuck yeah. In the Wichita area, stop by, see our dear, dear, lovely friend Leslie and the rest of her gang at CD Trade Post, Pawnee and Seneca. And stop by Paranormal.cafe. Get yourself a coffee and a scone. A paranormal-themed cafe. Are you fucking shitting me? No, I'm not. It's in Wichita, Kansas, baby. And then their food truck, Paranormal Egg Experience. Did I say that originally? Paranormal.cafe is the cafe. Paranormal Egg Experience is the food truck. Again, Preston's been drinking, and I think I am getting buzzed through osmosis.
Yeah, that's how that works.
Okay, cool, everybody. I'm going to raise what's left of this rumpkin and say cheers for the weird shit in the world and those of us who love to talk about it.
I can't raise mine because I already drank all mine like a good boy. Anyways, stay spooky and stay on the paranormal highway.
The cast at Pixelated Paranormal would like to thank you for listening to this week's episode. Pixelated Paranormal is here to tell you tales of the fantastical, the strange, the unknown. Tales that will move you a little further down the paranormal highway. If you'd like to share your own listener story, we would love to hear it. Email us at pixelatedparanormal@gmail.com. Again, that's pixelatedparanormal@gmail.com. We'd really love to hear from you. Again, thanks for listening to this week's episode of Pixelated Paranormal, your guide to the unusual and the strange.